President Trump sparking controversy again, questioning the validity of Christine Blasey Ford's sexual assault accusations against Supreme Court nominee Brett Kavanaugh. Tweeting this, "I have no doubt that if the attack on Dr. Ford was as bad as she says, charges would have been immediately filed by either her or her loving parents. I ask that she bring those filings forward." Well, almost immediately, survivors of sexual abuse took to social media with their own accounts of why they didn't come forward right away with the hashtag #WhyIDidn'tReport. Joining me now, Sheila Raja, a clinical psychologist and an assistant professor at the University of Illinois at Chicago, and co-author of the book, The Sexual Trauma Workbook for Teen Girls. Sheila, good to see you. So, explain the complications, why in many cases it takes years for survivors of sexual assault to come forward.
Yeah, exactly. It does take years, and what we're hearing here is actually the most common story, not an uncommon story. Really, most victims don't go forward and prosecute. We know that survivors of trauma that actually go ahead and prosecute in the legal system are the ones usually that are assaulted by strangers, and they're the ones who sustained serious physical injuries. So especially when there's acquaintances involved and when people are younger, these things are, vastly underreported.
And on that issue of when people are younger, I grew up with the stat kind of, emblazoned in my mind, 1 out of 4, women will be sexually assaulted. But why is it the case that for young ladies between the ages of 16 to 19, those numbers are actually much higher?
Yes, they are. I mean, the thing is that when you're young, I wish that I could say that this is a rare story, but it's not. I know teenagers in my own town that have survived sexual trauma and then told a trusted adult about it, only to be told, "Are you sure you were interpreting that correctly? Are you sure that this wasn't just mixed signals?" And when we treat survivors like that, particularly when they're younger, they can be very, very re-traumatized. And so I think that, that's why the Me Too hashtag has been so powerful. The movement has been so powerful because, I as a psychologist can say, you're not alone. Other people have experienced this. But when young women and women overall are looking out there and looking at that Me Too hashtag, it's really humanizing an epidemic that we have going on.
I heard Tarana Burke, who is the founder of the Me Too movement, and she said, what this is about right now, while some people are confused that the Me Too movement would be associated with the thoughts and concerns about this allegation involving a Supreme Court nominee, and she says it's about justice. It really is not specific to workplace or the power that men may have over women in a workplace, but it really is about justice, and that's why even this nomination process and these allegations and how it's treated are so incredibly significant.
Yes, we are asking ourselves, I think, the wrong question. We ask ourselves the question, why didn't she report? And that could be Dr. Ford or anybody else. But the question we really need to ask ourselves as a culture and a society is, what are we doing to make it safe for survivors to actually report sexual trauma? Are we, creating processes where people are not being retried or, tried themselves or, their character called into question? Are we making it safe for them? And are there clear reporting processes, not just from a legal standpoint, but for example, if this happens in a school setting, or if this happens in a religious setting, or if this happens in military culture? I mean, the only good thing happening recently is that we're having these really difficult conversations about how we've got an epidemic on our hands, and we need to address it.
And we've heard people assess this so differently. Some who might explain it away by saying, well, wait a minute, they were kids, and if there was, alcohol involved, perhaps, it was a mistake. But then at the same time, when you hear people talk about they were children, and you listen and hear more details about the, Catholic, priest abuse allegations, you don't hear the same kinds of explaining away for these, children and their stories coming out 20, 30 years after the fact. Is there a double standard?
Yes, I do think there's a double standard because, I mean, we know that trauma is trauma from a larger standpoint. I mean, you quoted some of the statistics on girls. Yes, it could be as, 1 in 5 is a conservative estimate, but also 1 in 8 boys are, being traumatized in some way. And so, sexually traumatized. So we do need to shine the light, destigmatize these issues, and start, listening to them both with our hearts, but also our minds, with an understanding of epidemiology, the fact that it's happening fairly often, and also clinical science. The fact that, she didn't come forward right away is not really that out of the ordinary. Often people maybe just tell, someone close to them, or someone close to them says, you're not acting like yourself anymore. Or maybe you tell your boyfriend down the line. But, most people don't sort of right away come out. So this has been the power of the Me Too movement, is there's that power in numbers, and people are saying, wow, I'm not alone.
Yeah, sadly, there's that association of shame. So many, alleged victims talk about, being ashamed and being fearful of expressing what happened for fear of further repercussions. All right, Sheila Raja.
And I think we need to ask ourselves, we don't do that. We don't do that to other victims of crimes. Why do we do that when it's, sexual trauma involved? And that's when we need to start changing as a culture.
Sheila Raja, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Coming up, alarming new details about